All right, we're gonna go in just a second here, guys. Let's see. It's like a green screen right now. That's weird. It's going live. There we go. Cool. We are live. All right, let me move that because that's distracting. Okay, there we go. All right. Oh, then I got to click record. There we go. All right, record to cloud. All right, everybody. My name is Andrew Krause. I'm one of the co-founders here at InventRight. Stephen Key and myself co-founded InventRight 25, going on 26 years now. Yeah, it's a very long time. We specialize in licensing. Licensing is a really cool business model because you get that big company to utilize their money, their workers, and their distribution. So you don't need to start a business. So licensing is a great thing. We have this new deal we're doing, Licensing Playbook Live. We're doing live every Wednesday, and it's usually Steven and myself. There's Steven. He just looks like he just showed up there. I don't see him on video yet. Maybe he's on the second page. Let's see where is he? Where is Steven? I see him right
I don't see
there.
him.
That's weird. Like Steven, if you can hear me, I can see you're in the meeting, but I don't see you on camera.
He likes to
Well,
come lurking in from the back.
yeah, but let me see if I can find him here.
He came incognito.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
there
don't
he is.
know. Oh,
He's
there he
not.
is. There he is. There he is.
Yeah, he
Ah!
was on camera.
Hey,
Where's
Steven.
that? There you are.
We like keeping things fun and light here. So we're doing this every Wednesday. It's called Licensing Playbook Live. And we're giving you great information about closing licensing deals. Today's topic is never say these things to potential licensees. Never, never say these things to potential licensees. So that should be fun. Who do we have? First off, we have Stephen Key, our other co-founder. Stephen, raise your hand. There you go. There you go. All right, cool. And then we have Dana. She's our director of inventor relations. Her job here at InventRight is to reach out to companies and show them your products for people that are clients of ours. And she manages a whole group of people at InventRight that do that. And one of our great, we call them Gators. Dana made up the name. They're the people that reach out to companies, kind of an internal name. And one of them is Chad. So Chad, raise your hand. So Chad is amazing. He's one of the people that reach out. So we are going to be addressing this topic today, which is never say these things to potential licensees. Before we got going, Dana was telling me, she said, you know, we know all these things, but and Chad said, there's probably a whole bunch of things we could say, like that we would never say now, but some of you might say. So we're going to cover things that are really obvious to us and maybe things that aren't obvious to us anymore, but are things that you might mess up on and say to potential licensees, right, Stephen?
Well, yes, I think this is going to be a great topic because I think at times we're probably scaring companies, we're scaring them away, right? And we've learned through the gateway, and I think we've known this for a long time, that they want to work with inventors that are knowledgeable, that have experience, that aren't going to be a pain, that are not going to ask too many questions, of course, that they're going to be an asset. And if you're asking questions that kind of throw up a red flag that tells them you're new at this and you're going to be a pain and you probably don't have an idea yet, but you might have one later, they sometimes they don't have the bandwidth, and they've known from previous experiences it's probably maybe you're not ready yet, or maybe you will be. So how do they deal with you? I I think it's pretty common that we're all starting out. Sometimes we haven't done this before, and that should stop you because you have to start somewhere. But we're going to help you, even if this is your first time, how you can at least look like you've done this before, okay? And to keep these guys on the hook to get the deal. Yeah,
Fake it till you make it.
pretty much.
Pretty much.
I'm a big
And,
believer in that. Yeah.
and it is important. But I want to say though that you guys, when you're licensing, you don't need to come across as captains of industry or anything like that. You just need to not, I just say it really simply, not say stupid stuff. And not say stuff that they will respond negatively to, but you don't need to be super polished either. But you do need to know what to say and what not to say.
Okay.
So, Stephen, how do you want to get this started off?
Yeah,
Today's
yeah,
topic, never say these things. Do you want to start
I'll
off?
start with one, and this is
Great.
something that I think we're all thinking about, and we're kind of afraid sometimes that we're dealing with a company we don't know. And in the back of our mind, we're thinking we got to be careful. They're going to steal it from us. I know all of us have thought that at one time or another. So maybe we ask them to sign an NDA right out of the gate. I mean, we haven't had a conversation yet. They haven't seen anything yet. Maybe they've seen a one-line benefit statement. Maybe they've seen a paragraph. But right away you said, I want you to sign my NDA. There's a very good chance they will never sign your NDA. And there's a very good chance that they're probably going to walk away because number one, that's not the way it's done. And you're there for fear. And NDAs are not protection tools anyway, unless it has unless it has reverse engineering language and all a bunch of nasty stuff in there, and no one's ever going to sign that anyway. So what do you do? Well, if you can, you talk about the benefit of your idea first. Yeah. And I think you should always talk about the benefit of your idea because you've heard the expression, about a 3-inch drill. People don't want a 3-inch drill. They want a 3-inch hole, right? And the 3-inch drill, that's probably your IP. But the 3-inch hole is what their customers want. So you need to figure out how do you talk about your idea in such a way you're not disclosing your idea. You're talking about how the customer is going to benefit from it, right? And once they see that and they realize, well, yeah, our customers might have that same problem. Our customers might really would like to have a product that solves that problem. That's when they start to ask more. That's when you can ask, hey, before I show you too much, do you have an NDA I can sign? Now, why am I asking for their NDA? Well, could you imagine if I was a company and I had to sign a new NDA for every idea that came into the company? I mean, think
Especially
about
a
it.
big company.
That would be crazy, right? So they have an NDA. You need to read it, look at it, and if it sounds normal, which it probably will, and if it doesn't, you might want to ask someone that's got more experience. But that's the way I would approach it. So I think the first thing I want to start with, just be careful about being nervous and asking for an NDA too early because it's not the right time. Yeah.
And realize you have some protection, or you should have some protection. You should always file a provisional patent application at the very least, or some of you have filed patents. So that is your major form of protection, not an NDA. And if you have an attorney that tells you you have to get every company to sign an NDA before you show them your idea, ask them how many products they've licensed. 99.9% of them will say zero. So now everything we share with you today is not legal advice. So we're giving practical advice, and you need to make your own decisions. But you're going to be beating your head up against a brick wall if you ask all these companies to sign your NDA. Now, sometimes when you send a sell sheet, they look at it and it's a simple product and they just get it. But you filed a provisional patent. You filed a patent. Okay. Now, other times there's a project I'm working on with an inventor and there's a secret sauce inside. There's a technology. You could look at the product, you see all the benefits, and they would have no idea how this thing works. That's not the case most of the time, but that is the case some of the time. If you want 100% assurance that nothing bad will ever happen, don't be in business. You have to just call it a day. You can't guarantee that nothing bad will ever happen. Like I always give this example. Like you want to open up a sandwich shop. And you're like, well, I need a guarantee that nobody else will open up a sandwich shop within 15 miles of me. You can't guarantee that. And you
Mhm.
can't guarantee that nobody will ever steal your idea. But I can tell you at InventRight, we've been doing this for 25, almost 26 years now. We've never had one of our inventors or us send a product to a company and then that company stole the idea, a potential licensee in almost 26 years. It will happen one day, Hasn't happened yet. And I'm not saying it's never happened to any inventors. Usually it's because they're conducting themselves unprofessionally. And then the company that is unethical, which a small percentage of companies are, then takes advantage of that. But when you're conducting yourself in a very professional way, people go, "Oh, that's not somebody I want to mess with." And so I think the title of today is Never Say These Things to Potential Licensees. So to say things to potential licensees that give them the impression you don't know what the hell you're doing might give a little sign to that 3 or 4% of companies that might consider knocking you off. And that's why when I talk to inventors outside InventRight, I hear legitimate stories of inventors getting knocked off. Never happened to us because we're acting very professional.
Hey, let's move along quickly. Dana, what do you say about that topic, or do you have something else that you'd like to add?
Well, I definitely say something about NDAs is that I always look at it like it's a prenup. Like I'm telling the company right off the bat, I don't trust you. You're going to rip me off. You're going to steal from me. It's just not a good way to start a relationship. And it's a newbie mistake. When you ask a company to sign an NDA, like you said, you're asking them to spend money now with their lawyers and everything. They haven't even seen your product yet. Bad mistake. The two things that come up on my list, well, I have a bunch of them, but the one thing that you should probably never say, and these are just a couple words in your reach out or follow up or whatever script, is that you want a partner or you want an investor. Those are big two words that you should not say to a company. That is a red flag because even though that's kind of what you want somebody to invest in your product idea and take it, the rest of the way. You want a partner sort of, with, your product idea, but those two words are just something you should not use in any of your scripts ever.
Dana, I think people are using those words because they don't know the right words to use.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
I see it all the time too. They just don't know you're looking to license your product. They don't know what that means yet.
Mhm.
So that is a rookie mistake, and they see it all the time. Chad, what do you think about either NDAs or something else?
So on the NDA topic, I agree. Your chances are you're not going to get them to sign your version of an NDA out of hundreds and hundreds of calls. I've seen it a couple times. It's super rare. But on the flip side of that, as much as they're not going to sign your NDA, it shouldn't push you away from signing theirs. Uh, because the fact of the matter is if they require an NDA for submission, you have to do it. I mean, you don't have to, but if you want them to look at it, you have to do it. Otherwise, they're going to throw your submission out. That's not to say that you shouldn't carefully read that NDA. Some of them are total BS. Some of them have crazy clauses in there that you don't want anything to do with. So you definitely want to read it. You can ask for your lawyer's advice if you don't get it, but most of them, you read through them, something sticks out like, that sounds fishy, and then you can look into that further.
So
But
why do you think they have strict language in their NDA?
well,
Because some of them do. Some of the NDAs sound really nasty, but they're really not. I think what they're saying is, hey, don't sue me if we're working on something in the
because
past.
I think because they have in the past most likely dealt with that whole crazy inventor thing, and they want to cover themselves. They want to
Yeah.
make sure that they can
Okay.
protect themselves.
But it sounds like I don't want to sign it.
It sounds like you don't want to
True.
sign it, but I can tell you, every NDA, every company that I get into that requires an NDA, before I send it over to the client, I read through the entire thing. And if
Mhm.
anything sticks out to me that looks crazy, I mean, I'll either ask you or Paul or Dana, and then that'll still be up to the client. But I read lots of NDAs, and the majority of them are just a simple
Yeah.
mutual protection of each other. You're not submitting this on a
Okay.
basis.
Guys, we have a special guest here that gets a lot of ideas. And he looks at a lot of ideas, he gets a lot of ideas, and he's got an NDA that's a little nasty. Mark Portney, I'm calling you out right now.
Here, I'll unmute him since you. There. let's see.
Mark?
And tell me why your NDA is so nasty, Mark. Why does it sound like it doesn't sound fair, but it actually is fair.
I appreciate you calling me out, Stephen. That's great. Um, I mean, one of the things that I find that really make me uncomfortable is when an inventor is extremely obtuse with the idea. So they'll say to me, "Oh, it's in the baby area, or it's in the camping area," or that makes me uncomfortable because they I feel like they're trying to tie me up in an area where I'm already working. So I need a little bit of specificity in regards to, what is it like? Can you tell me more specifically what it is? And it's a baby feeding item that makes feeding easier or whatever it is. But then I know, am I doing anything in the baby feeding area? I'm much more apt to exchange NDAs with those people. And the NDA is not really nasty. If you're going to do what you say you're going to do, then an NDA shouldn't really be a problem.
Okay.
Meaning on my side, the investor side.
Have you had a bad experience with people coming back and saying, "Hey, you stole my idea"?
No, it's happened to me, but I've never done it to anybody. No,
No, I'm just saying, has anybody ever claimed you've done it to them?
no,
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the way that we approach it here at InventRight. We don't bring up the NDA. We just want to send them the sell sheet, the marketing piece. If they bring it up and they say, "I want you to sign mine," we say, "Great, send it on over. We'll take a look at it. If it looks good, you sign it and you send it." But we don't bring it up. If they bring it up, then you say, "Send it on over." And if it looks okay and there's nothing fishy in there, you sign it. Now, what Steven's saying is true. To a rookie that isn't used to seeing NDAs, you might think it looks nasty and it's actually perfectly fine. So you need to know the difference between a truly nasty NDA and one that just seems nasty and is actually fine to sign.
We see a lot.
There's a difference.
I
Yeah.
had a real life example last week where I had a company, there was some confusion going back and forth, and they said, well, we need to do the NDA. So I was waiting for them to send it over, and he said, well, does your client have one? I was like, well, no, we don't require one unless you require one. And he's like, well, I don't require one. I said, well, then I guess we're good.
Yeah, yeah, that happens. Yeah, when we get into a company, and sometimes they will respond and say, "Do you want to sign an NDA?" And I'm like, "Nope, not concerned about it." Okay, cool. Yeah,
It goes so much faster, doesn't it?
yeah.
Now, let me tell you why NDAs are important, though. Let's don't miss this point. If I'm going to send something that has some intellectual property, and I have filed a PPA, okay? And I realize that I might have to file it again. Maybe I'm working with a big company. Maybe it's a big industry. Maybe things are going to take longer. Maybe I got a little busy. Maybe I was doing something else, and PPAs only last a year. But if I know that I won't get it done in a year, and I want to have the ability to refile it again and only lose my date, then those NDAs are really important to me because they stop the clock, right? I think that's how they're being used in my world. If I want to refile it, I'll have them sign an NDA. In fact, I won't say it out of fear. What I like to say, look, you guys, I'm concerned about disclosure issues, public disclosure issues. That's what I'm concerned about. So I like to sign an NDA with at least 3 years so I have time to refile it again. That's how I like to use it. If I need to think I need more than a year, that's what I do.
Well, can I add on the PPA? I like how everybody uses the provisional patent application as a kind of a safeguard for things that happen later on. There is some front end value to a provisional patent application because a lot of companies that we reach out to, they require some sort of IP protection in order to submit to them. So even if you're worried about running out of time, even on the front end of that PPA, it has value because it can help you get into the companies to gauge whether or not there's interest in your product.
Yeah.
So the title today, the topic is "Never Say These Things to Potential Licensees." Frank just wrote about something he said. and he's worried he did something wrong, and I'm going to reassure him he didn't. If you guys disagree, let me know. So Frank said, just today I was setting up a meeting with an employee from a company. While finalizing it, I asked if anyone else, marketing or sales from the company, would be involved. After asking, I felt bad because maybe I made them feel like they weren't important enough. I just wanted to be prepared. In my opinion, guys, I think it's perfectly fine if he wants to ask if anyone else wants to be there. I don't think he messed up. Do you guys think there's anything wrong with that? I don't think so.
No, I don't think that's a mess up. It's probably not something that I would ask, but I don't think that's wrong. I don't think that'll, I mean, it's
It just comes off like you're trying to be prepared.
yeah, no, I don't think that's wrong.
Yeah, I think you did fine, Frank. So I don't think that falls in the category of something you never want to say to a potential licensee. I think
Just don't
that's
tell them
fine.
like you're not going to be there, are you?
Yeah.
So here, a question from Rob. If you sign an NDA and they disclose it, how do you know who disclosed? Are they even enforceable? Yeah, you can't really necessarily, you know? I mean, let's be
I,
honest. You know, sometimes you're gonna give your sell sheet to a company and they want to show it to a buyer. Do you want to
yeah.
tell them they can't do that? Like,
Yeah.
you want them to show it to the buyer, Walmart. Go, hey, is this something you're interested in or whatever? Let's get real here. Dana?
Yeah, and I just feel that if a company is going to require an NDA, it's more to protect them from us than us from them.
Yes.
It's more the company saying, they want to protect us. We as the company want to be protected from you, the inventor, not the other way around.
Yeah, I would agree.
That
And
makes
it's
sense. Yeah,
it's
that's why I feel that they do that and how those NDAs. I mean, I've read a lot of NDAs too, just like Chad said. If a company sends me over an NDA before we send it to the client, I'm gonna read the whole thing and then, send it over to the project manager to send it to the client stating, hey, there's some, clauses in here you might want to take a look at. They sound a little wonky. I mean,
well, and
I'm not an
guys,
attorney, but
Dana, you've probably seen this, and Chad and Steven's seen this. It says NDA at the top, but when you read it, it's a non-confidentiality agreement. They're saying, look, we can't agree to keep anything confidential. We don't know what you're sending us yet. We might be working
Right.
on something similar. So
And
I've
that's
seen non-confidentiality agreements that say NDA at the top, but the contents of it is a non-confidentiality. What you send us is not confidential.
Well,
and you
one
just
I saw an NDA that said basically whatever you send us, we own.
No, don't sign that one.
Don't sign
those ones are
that
terrible.
one.
But I think you hit it
Yeah.
right on the head, Andrew.
Yeah.
It's they just want to protect themselves. They want to make sure 9 times out of 10 when they've told me the reason for it, it's because you're developing a product in their space. So there's a very good chance that somebody's either working on an idea that's similar to that, or they're developing on a similar line, or they have something that's exactly like yours. So in them doing that, when you submit, they don't want to now take on the liability of the fact that now you can say, oh, well, you got that idea from me. So
When I
Yeah.
was manufacturing guitar picks, people would ask, they want to send me an idea, sign an NDA. We never signed any of them ever. Because we were doing so much work in that area that I didn't want someone to come back to say, hey, you stole my idea.
Right.
It was just too much danger to it. So we said no.
they almost see it as
Move
like
on. What else do we got, guys?
So on that same topic, and then we'll move on to another topic here. Whatever date you filed your intellectual property, your provisional patent, your patent, that's your date. Same thing for them, you know? So don't stress about this. And it's all, that's fair. That's fair. And if you learn that they filed something sooner that you weren't aware of, well, that's fair. That's just reality, guys. That's okay. Let's see. Well, somebody was raising their hand earlier. I don't see them anymore.
I
So
believe it was Lori.
yeah, Lori, but I don't see Lori. There she is. Lori, do you still want to? Here, I can unmute you. Go ahead, Lori.
I guess I can sort of paraphrase. I typed it, but once I used when I was in-house corporate, and an outside friend of mine who was an inventor in the footwear world, he wanted to submit his idea and I didn't know how to handle it. So I went through the legal department of the IP because the company was large enough. Is that something that you would ever suggest doing, where you use the lawyer as a go-between to see if there is an overlap, and then they play like a buffer?
Stephen, you want to comment on that?
I try to stay out of the legal department. They they seem to, they seem to want to overprotect whoever they're representing. And they get paid to do that. And
Yeah.
they get paid to find problems. So I just try to, if I can avoid that department, I do it. I don't want to deal with them.
If you're not getting the vibe so far, I'll just state it. You just want to get your marketing piece in front of that marketing manager, product manager, and maybe sometimes the CEO, and you want to grease the wheels. You don't want there to be any sticking points, and you start talking to legal. Oh my God, that's just going to bring everything to a screeching halt, you know? Now, we're not giving legal advice. We're not telling you what to do or what not to do here. Consult the services of your legal advisor, but we're giving you the practicality of how we approach it. And if you insist that every company signs your NDA, you're going to feel like you're beating your head up against a brick wall. Now, that's not to say there isn't some scenario or industry where that would make sense. And so we're not going to get in those details. But for most of you, it's not going to be the case. Richard, let me see. I'll help unmute you here. Go ahead, Richard.
Hi, Steve. How you doing, Andrew? When pitching to companies, and you're talking to these project managers, marketing managers, do they get a bonus for bringing in new products that are hits and stuff? Because is that something you want to try and emphasize when you're speaking with them? Just like, or figure out which person really gets the bonus, or
I'm sorry.
I love that question. Stephen, I don't think we've ever gotten that question in 26 years, but we've got it in other ways. So how is this person within the company? They're a person working in a corporation. How are they benefiting? Why are they bothering to push this thing forward within a company? Or Dana, you want to answer that, or either
Well,
anybody?
I have no idea if people who I show the product to get a bonus. How do we know that? We don't know that. We have no idea. I highly doubt it because it's their job to find new products and to vet new products. I would never mention that or pitch it that way, like, hey, if you take on my product, you're going to get a bonus or something like that. I think that's what the question was. It's their job to look at new product ideas. It's their job to bring in new innovation. That's why they're saying, yes, we'll look at this. Is your company open to outside innovation for licensing? Yes, we are. Okay, and we send it over. So, yeah, I don't. I've never heard of a company getting, somebody in a company getting a bonus because they looked at a product or brought in a new product. I mean,
But I think they see it as a bonus, as in they benefit. Everyone benefits from it. They get to stay in business. They get to keep, innovating, making new products. I think that's how it's seen as a bonus. It's benefits.
I think Chad, Dan, they're right that the people that they're reaching out to through Gateway, that is their job. That is their title. Either new product development, inventors relations, marketing managers. No, their job is to find new ideas. And so that's how they get paid. That's their bonus. They get paid every paycheck.
If they don't, then they get fired and they don't get the bonus.
Just imagine that we pitch them a product and it's really cool and they really like it and they get to take it to the next meeting that they have at the end of the month and say, look what I found.
Yeah.
Look at this. That makes it look good.
Well, that's what I picture, something like an NFL draft or something where these guys come in and they're all out there trying to find the best recruits, and one brings in something like a Teddy Ruskin, and all of a sudden he's like star player of the year or something,
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. So it's not a bonus. It's like any worker that does a good job that brings in more money to the company. That could mean they get promoted. It could mean they get a bonus. But that's also why they're afraid of you showing your product. They might be like, oh, this might make me look bad if the person has a terrible presentation or the inventor's whacked out or whatever. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, I think
I wouldn't, I'm sorry, I'd never put that in my pitch anywhere. Just
Right.
however you're spinning
no,
it.
no, I wouldn't
Okay.
say that.
Well,
No,
I
no.
would-
These
I
are
would
things
say-
you do not say.
From a
think
real
there's
life
more
perspective,
fear.
sorry, Steve.
I think there's more fear from that person bringing you in that you might do something that would embarrass that person.
Yes.
But
I think that's more
realistically,
of a
I think
fear.
most of them do it on a non-biased perspective. No, I don't think that they're not really going to bat for your product. They're kind of just doing their job and systematically passing it along. And then if their boss doesn't like it, it doesn't reflect poorly on them, or you know what I mean? So they're not really going to bat for.
But wait a minute, but let's move it further. Once you get through that gate and they do find it and you start and they do see it and there's some interest, if you can find the champion in the room,
Mhm.
you have a better chance of success.
For sure.
And what do I mean by that? There will be a champion. You need a champion, and you're probably going to need a champion in maybe a couple departments. Someone that grabs a hold of it and believes in it. And they believe in it, and not because of a bonus, because it makes them feel good. You guys, you know, money doesn't motivate people that much. You know, it is, but it's not. If you find something that someone says, hey, this is important, people need to see this, I'm going to feel good, I'm going to help with this, I want my name attached to this. Those are the people you want to find. Those are your champions. But that's a little bit later. Could be someone in the engineering department, someone in sales, someone in the marketing. I've seen those champions, and I try to find them as fast as I can because they have they're feeding their soul a little differently. Just this, like, they're just like you. You feed your soul by coming up with ideas.
Right.
Same thing. So yeah, I think it's a little bit later, but not at the very beginning.
Yeah. Hello. I'll unmute you. Here we go. See if we get going here. There we go.
Hello. When we were talking about NDAs and clauses that we don't like whatever you send us, we now own. Is it very typical among portals that's the deal with them?
That sort of clause is not typical, but if you're gonna see a negative, something pretty negative, sometimes it is in portals.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's typical among companies you don't want to work with.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I don't think it's really typical. Honestly, I don't. It's not.
Rare.
I mean, I've seen a couple companies that say that, and it's like, don't want to work with you, don't want to work with you. And
Yeah.
I think it's just a way to get people to go away.
Yeah,
That
it's
they're
those
not
massive
really,
ones
they're not
that
really open.
They don't
they-
need you. That's usually the biggest companies that, you know, I mean, yeah, it'd be great to get their numbers, but the odds of licensing something to them are
Yeah.
slim.
Yeah. Those are, I can probably say the ones that I've seen, those NDAs like that, those are the monster companies. They're big. They're big. You know, and we even struggle getting in. I mean, we've gotten into some massive companies over here, but even those sharks, they're hard to get into.
But don't, you know, I can't mention the name of the company, but there was a garbage can company where they have technology where you wave your hand over it and opens up. Won't say the name of the company, but they had such a statement on their website. And it made me so upset. I was like, I will never buy their products.
Yeah.
Because that's just like messed up. But I would get people asking me all the time, should I submit to them? Should I submit? I'm like, what do you think? It says they're going to own your idea if you send it, even though they can't even really do that legally.
Right,
What does that
right.
tell you about the company? Like, don't even ask me. Like, it just accept it. Oh, but I really want, well, no.
Well,
You're not
because
gonna
could you and
change them.
Steven, could you guys clarify on something like that? So, and like you just said, that doesn't even mean that they can technically do that. Just because, say, you submitted to them. Now, if you had an issued utility patent prior to submitting to this, I'm assuming they don't really own your IP. Is that correct, Andrew or Steven?
You know, I think you need to ask an attorney on that. I mean, like,
Okay.
if you filed a patent and then you sign something that says they own whatever you send them,
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah, how
attorneys
did-
saying that's not even legal.
Or
But I'm
are
not
they
gonna
saying
make,
anything that you send as far as like because I've seen things where it says that if
Yeah.
you send any marketing materials or physical prototypes that they will not be returned, as in they're owned by them. But
well,
I'm talking about your
yeah.
actual intellectual property in those terms.
Hey, you
don't know.
guys, let's go back. I got another question for Mark Portney for a minute. Mark, you've been on the YouTube channel, InventRight TV, many, many times. You're looking for products. That's what you've done for your whole career. You get a lot of product submissions. Is there anything that people are doing to you that's a red flag you don't want to work with that person?
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, I like everything to be quite concise. I like it to just get to the point. Sometimes they're very run-on, and I don't really have the patience to read pages and pages of how it's going to change the world and how it's going to change my life and how I'm going to be rich now that I met them. Um, Things like that are a little bit off-puttish. Confidence is great. You know, I do like a bit of confidence, but don't be nuts. You know what I mean? That's I don't know if that's advice, but you
Mhm.
know, as soon as I start to sniff nuts, I'm out, you know.
So, yeah, thank you, Mark. Dana,
Uh,
talk about this more because you see it too. When someone says, I have a product that's going to capture 10% of the market and the market's
yeah.
$1 billion and we're all going to get rich. What do you do when you see that?
I just roll my eyes and say, I mean, I would never say that. Like that was kind of next on my list. Everyone will want one of these, and it's $1 million idea. They are never going to answer an email ever if you put that in there because you're just oozing crazy inventor, oozing. They're never going to ever
Come
respond.
on, come on. But
No.
my idea
No.
is a big idea and it's going to change the world.
It's
Well,
it
you
yeah.
know what? The only product that I can think of that everyone wants one from 5 years old to 95 years old is the cell phone. That is the only product that I can think that everyone wants. Now, there's a lot of products that everyone needs and should have, like the fire extinguisher that Mark Portney. Everybody should have one of them if they have a house, right, Mark? Everyone should have one. But not everybody's going to want one, and so those are really big, big newbie
Okay.
mistakes. Yeah.
So that's a red flag of crazy. Chad, tell me, what are you seeing that says crazy all the way?
So, well, here's what I like to point out. So there's all kinds of, how can I put that? So some people say crazy stuff because they're crazy. Other people say crazy stuff because they're nervous. All right. And there's a difference, you know what I mean? And just because you've heard these different scripts, pitches, stuff like that from InventRight doesn't mean that you have it down. So maybe you get on the call and you get nervous and you say some crazy stuff. It happens, you know. But the more that you do that, and we kind of talk about that every time, the more that you do that, the more fluent that becomes, the more it just kind of rolls off the tongue and you're able to kind of
Mhm.
speak that language and all that. So if you do find yourself saying some crazy stuff just because you're nervous, it's not the end of the world. Those are just people on the other end. Go back, recoup, do it again. It gets easier and easier. So,
You
but
know
if
what
you're
it is?
crazy and you're saying crazy stuff because you're crazy, I can't help you on that. I don't know.
You know, you guys, you have to realize if you have good marketing material, let that sell for you. You shouldn't have to say a thing. I mean, Andrew and I have talked about this for years, for 25 years. You don't have to be a salesperson.
Mm-mm.
You don't. In fact, I think the less you say, the better it is, actually. I think what you need to do is ask good questions, what they see in it, maybe how important is IP. And we've talked a lot about that. But let your products yell from the rooftop how great it is. So let your
Yeah.
marketing material talk for you.
Well,
Yeah,
and this
yeah.
is something too that, we're talking about after, I guess this conversation is just to be clear, after you've made a connection at a company and they have given permission for you to send over their marketing material. That's a big mistake. Big mistake. This isn't what you say, this is what you do. We would never, ever, ever send over anything without knowing that that person has said it's okay to send that to us.
Hmm. Yeah, good.
Never.
Good
Wait a minute,
that
wait
up.
a minute.
No.
You should
No.
ask for permission, but sometimes I haven't asked, Dana.
Yeah, well, that's just not proper etiquette. And I'm all about etiquette, right?
And
That's
Stephen,
not proper etiquette.
that is the core advice we've given over the last 25 years.
I
But
know.
you're a rule breaker. I know you like to break not
Well,
only
sometimes I get so frustrated and say,
rules.
screw it, I'm just going to
I'm
send
a
it.
bigger fan of asking for forgiveness than permission, and
And-
that's not. Sometimes that's counterproductive, Stephen.
It's
I'm
not
kind of the
common.
same
I would
way,
not,
and it
I
doesn't
would
always
not,
work.
wait a minute. Guys, I don't recommend that,
No,
but
no.
I've done it. Okay, so.
I've
Easy
done it
treat,
too.
the hard
I've done
way.
it too, but I don't recommend it. Always,
Well,
and you can even
alright.
ask them for permission. With your permission,
Now,
I
wait,
can send you over a one-page
Okay.
sell sheet.
okay, now wait a minute. We've been saying that forever, but someone here has a completely different opinion of that. Mark Portney, what do you think about that?
Hold on, I'm mute on here. There you go.
Oh, about what specifically, Stephen? What
I'm
do
going
you?
to ask for permission to you before I send my sell sheet. Do you like that or not?
No, I hate it. I can't stand it.
No, well, you know what though? Mark is different because Mark comes on YouTube and says, "I'm looking for ideas. Send them to me."
Okay,
He's
all right,
already
all right.
given everybody permission.
But
Just
Mark,
send
why
them.
do you hate it?
Because it's a two-step process. Now I'm taking another email that says, "Oh, can I have permission to send it?" When I would have just liked to look at it, and you don't have to. You don't have to ask permission to
But
do it and
that's
then do it.
yeah,
Trust
and
me,
that's
Mark,
not
if
gonna
everybody
be.
felt the way that you did, our
Yeah.
job would be so much easier.
Oh, like we'd be
Yeah.
sending out sell sheets right and left by the
Just
hundred.
take them.
I know Mark is not, you guys have to realize, I think what's interesting, when Mark first told me that, and I was thinking that we've been teaching this for 25 years, and Mark says, I hate that. I kind of rolled my eyes going, either we're doing it wrong or Mark's a little bit, he does things a little bit different. He wants to cut to the chase pretty quickly because he's from New York, you guys. You don't want to waste time with someone from New York. You want to get to it pretty damn quick. Mark, is
Well,
that
I wish
right?
it was like that because
Yeah,
it
I
is.
mean, Stephen, all I want is I want features and benefits. Don't tell me the auto industry is a $740 billion industry. And if we just get 1/10 of 1% of this industry, we're
Yeah,
going to be
absolutely.
zillionaires.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, well, in that vein, Adam Gustafson made a really nice comment. He said a really cool comment. In the toy industry, if you say it's the next monopoly in a pitch, they'll arrest you. Does that, so, if you
Yeah.
haven't done this before, you guys might have a tendency to say, pardon my language, stupid stuff like this.
Hey, Andrew,
So us just knowing, don't say that. If you just come away from this meeting knowing that one thing, it's going to help you tremendously.
I think
Who said that?
Denzel had his hand
Who
up.
said
Yeah,
that?
Denzel's been waiting for a while, but then he jumped
Yeah.
off. Denzel, where is Denzel?
I don't know if he.
Hey, we'll go to Rich. Oh, there we go. Poor Denzel. He's been raising his hand a couple times. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Denzel. I clicked on. There you go.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So my question is, how do one protect himself before, and I definitely watched a lot of y'all content and everything like that. So, but when one don't have intellectual property, is it still safe to pitch his product to potential companies? You know what I mean? Without having nothing to properly protect himself, like. Is that when you said like an NDA can?
Well, here's my short answer, and all the other rest of the team can give an answer. If you can't, and I'm sure this is not the case, but if you can't, don't unmute yourself again because I might want you to talk again. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
If you can't afford $65 for a provisional, you should be putting more money in your bank account first before you work on licensing. So does that
Right.
make sense? You should always file a provisional. That's our routine. If you become a pro at this, as Steven says, and you have relationships with companies and you trust them, you could probably run ideas by them and not have anything and probably be fine. But our official line is for $65, why wouldn't you do that?
Absolutely. No, that makes all the sense in the world. So one of my instances were, excuse me, is I wind up basically filing the provisional, and I just went all the way, basically with the little knowledge that I had at that point in time. And I said, I'm gonna just go ahead and, do the whole thing and file the non-provisional. And I did all that. I put all this money in, and I wind up allowing the date to expire. So what happened is, it's like, all right, if you don't catch that, like, you know what I mean? If you don't catch that surge in that first 12 months, I know you'll file again. But it's like for those who like, what if they, you know what I mean? They went all in and then they were just like, all right, but now, you know,
Okay.
Steven?
how do it moving forward? How do I?
Yeah, you guys, here's what I'm always a little confused about. Filing a provisional patent application is something you should do because it makes you think a little differently. And it forces you to think about your product in such a way that you can actually discuss it differently with the company. So, and it gives you the discipline to think about workarounds and variations, and it really has value. But the thing that I'm always a little bit kind of rolling my eyes is you have a year now, and it should not take a year. If it takes you a year, you need to get a little help because you're not taking the right steps. Right? A year is a long time, and I know for us inventors, you know, a month is a long time. I know how impatient we are. So you might want to rethink what you're doing to think that you're going to run out of time because you should never be forced to file a non-provisional patent application.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. If you wait too long and you still believe in it, before you know it, you're trapped and you have to file something that could cost you, you know, tens of thousands of dollars that's not worth anything because no one wants it. So be very careful. So what I'm saying is this, you need to know the process of how to pitch an idea. That's why you're here tonight. You need to know that your ideas do matter. You need to know how to work with companies to get your ideas in front of people so those PPAs have value. So you can get those companies quickly and say, hey, do I kick this to the curb? Do I go to a new one or do I keep going forward? But if it takes you a year, you're doing something that you need to correct. That's my opinion.
Well, you know, people, you know this, Stephen, more than anybody. People get the warm and fuzzies when they file oh, I'm protected. But then they kind of sit on their hands because they don't know how to move forward. So it gives you a rush to file it, but then if you don't know how to license, it's not going to go anywhere.
Well,
And Denzel, you're not the only one. That's extremely common. Extremely common.
Very common.
Let's go to Richard. He has another question here.
You guys,
Go
wait a
ahead,
minute, wait a
Richard.
minute. Let's step back for a minute.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to license an idea, just go to inventRightTV. There's over 1,200 videos that are going to show you how to license an idea. You guys, there's nothing in the world today that you can't go to YouTube and learn how to do something today, right? I mean, it's like, you know, YouTube University. Everything's there. We have all that information. So find it, listen to it, dedicate yourself, be persistent, take the steps, and keep on coming back on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. We'll help you get over some of the bad humps too.
Good.
We have a
Go ahead,
couple-
Richard.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I had a question for Mark. Actually, it was what type of products are industries looking for right now, as far as what industries and whether or not it's focused being manufactured in the United States or somewhere else?
You got to unmute him, Andrew. Mark.
Let's see, Mark. Sorry, Mark. Sorry, I was typing to somebody else. Go ahead, Mark.
All good. I mean, I can't talk about other companies, but I can talk about myself. I'm looking for safety products. I'm looking for fire safety. I'm looking for basic family safety, things along those lines, because I'm looking for add-on products to our existing fire suppressor. So I hope I answered the questions. I mean, I'll look at everything, but I'm putting a very specific press on safety and fire safety.
Do you have your product anywhere near where? Let me see it.
You kidding? I'm in
I
sales,
need
man.
one of those.
Mhm.
I need one of those.
And what does it do?
This is 100% natural fire suppressor. And it's biodegradable, it's food safe, certified. And we literally started it from scratch. There is IP on this formulation, so it's really a new technology to put out a fire. See what I just did there in 3 sentences? Stephen Key knows exactly what I have.
I love it. You know what's really great about that product?
Nice.
I don't have a fire extinguisher in my house. How many people don't have one, Mark?
55% of the United States have nothing in their home for a fire.
And I wouldn't
55.
even know where, if I had one, it would probably be out in the garage and I wouldn't probably know how to use it.
No, but that's the point. The point is, before we embarked on this project, we took a look and saw what the market opportunity was. I think all the inventors that are listening here should also take a look at that. Yes, you're coming up with great ideas, but then assess the viability. Assess like, do I have a grand slam here? Is it fitting a niche? Is it fitting a need? And then from there, you back into the pitch with features and benefits. I mean, that's kind of what we did. And then you would think like, oh, this goes to hardware stores. Well, we sit around and figure out how many different places can this thing go. And we've sold everything from apartment complexes. They've literally distributed this within the complexes. So the landlords purchased them and then distributed them to the tenants. Nobody would have ever thought that. So you always have to be thinking, yes, of course, there's a straightforward position on your product, but also what else can be done with this? How else can we spin this to sell it to 10, 20, 30 times more people?
So getting back to the question, just keep your ears open, look at what's happening, see what people are doing. And I think the best thing to do is just love the market, love your customer, keep on asking questions. Okay, let's get back to what
I just want to give a shout out to our internet audience on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. There's just a few nice comments here. Adam says, I love seeing both sides of product submissions. He also said PPA allows me to sleep better at night. Phyllis says, I have a product video that is 30 seconds long. Good on you, Phyllis. Can we talk about that real quickly? Dana, Chad, a good 15-minute video talking about how you came up with the idea, your family loves it. That's the right thing to do, right?
You want to make sure you get it all in there, get the full backstory, you know.
Yeah, you gotta get the whole deal, right?
Tell us everything. You know what? I'm gonna tell you what people do wrong in the video, because that's what we're talking about. What do you do wrong?
Put scratchy music over it, make sure you
Oh
can't
my
hear
gosh,
your voice, all that
the
good
camera sucks. The lens is all scratched or foggy. It's out of focus. You're
Dan's got a
holding
personal
it and
pet
it's
peeve
going
about
like this all over the place. You're too focused on the person and not the product. That happens all the time. It's like the product's way down here in the corner, but the person's nicest. Those are the things that people are doing wrong. They honestly, companies don't care about you. They don't care about your face. They don't care about anything. They want to see what the product does. We can tell about a product. I mean, we can explain a product in writing, but then we have to show them what this product does. What is the benefit to the consumer? It's always, what is the benefit to the consumer? What is the benefit to the consumer? I can't drill that enough into people's heads. Not really the benefit to the sometimes benefit to the company, but the benefit to the consumer. How are their consumers going to react to this? And focus on the product. Many times we've said it, videos no longer than a minute. Every once in a while, I even hate saying this, a video can be a little bit longer than a minute if it's extremely demonstratable, and it needs to be a little bit longer. But if you can demonstrate your product in 15 seconds, do it in 15 seconds. It doesn't need to be a minute. And we don't care about people running through the grass and laughing and all the great music in the background. They don't care about that.
you guys,
Show
we've got
the
6
product.
more minutes left. What did we miss, you guys? Any rapid fire? Anything else we missed?
Don't talk about royalty rates. And don't ask them to call you.
Oh,
Don't ask them to can we get on a call?
Yeah, that's
No, never.
well, when do I ask for that?
When they ask for it. You don't ask for it.
Well, Dana,
I've never
I
asked
had a
for it.
woman that said, I'm trying to get a meeting. So she wasn't sending a sell sheet or a video, a marketing piece. She was just continually trying to get a meeting. She's like, it's not working. I'm like, no kidding. Like, they have no idea what you're showing them. You're not telling them, and you're trying to get a meeting.
No.
That's not going to work. So
Because most people will, you got to find the platform that some people like phone calls, not many. Some people do. They want you to call them on the phone. Some people are strictly LinkedIn. Some people are strictly email. And I think the reason that they do that is because when you get on a phone call, there's no record of what was said because nothing is recorded. When you're on an email, there's a paper trail. When you're in a LinkedIn message, there's a paper trail. But never ask for a phone call. and never bring up royalty rates until now down the road when they have serious
Oh,
interest.
come on,
and you
Dana.
can talk.
I want to know. I want to know
No.
what the royalty rate right up front.
I want 25% of whatever, and I want $1 million up front. And oh my gosh, no, never do that.
Okay, I got another one. Never ever say you want to sell your patent. I want to sell you my patent.
Yeah.
It changes the entire focus of the product to the intellectual property. Stephen more or less said that earlier in a different way. Never, ever, ever say that. Inventors love to say that. They're so proud of their patent. I want to sell you my patent. That's not what you're doing when you're licensing. You're renting them your idea. You're not selling your patent.
Andrew,
Don't say that.
how many, doing this for 25 years, how many times have we seen a patent or seen a company buy the patent?
I think we saw it. We saw it with Dario Antonioni.
Yes, you're right.
But
You're
that
right.
was like after he licensed it and it was selling for like 3 or 4 years and they were making so much money. They're like, we want to buy you out with this gridded product. Really cool product, by the way.
It's pretty rare.
But up front, it's not going to happen, guys.
Pretty rare.
It's
Okay,
not
we
gonna
got 3
happen.
more minutes. Anything else? What did we miss? Anything else?
I think that Mark wrapped it up perfectly. He's got the quote of the night as far as things you don't want to say. If he starts to sniff nuts, he's out. That's got to be the quote of the night. I'm still hung up on it. That's hilarious.
Well, you know, that's such a New York thing too. I mean, those guys, they can smell something a mile away.
No,
Huh, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And just to add to Dana's comment, if somebody submits something to me and I see it over 60 seconds, I won't open it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just won't open it. It just, I don't care if you like ketchup when you were 8 years old. I don't care.
Yeah.
So something too long, they won't open it. You're asking too much of their time. You guys, we gave a lot here. I wish someone had made some notes because I should probably do an article about this, the things that you should do, because these are really good.
I think so.
We've all
Yeah.
made these mistakes.
Yeah, I think something else that I hear, my mother loves it. Everybody loves it. I've showed it to all my friends and family. They all love it. Yeah, they don't care.
You guys do this for me. If you liked tonight, please write the comments. If you benefited from us, please write the comments. And if you know anybody out there that could use some of this information, please tell them about us. 5 o'clock Wednesday, that's West Coast, 8 o'clock back east. Thank you for all you guys on the East Coast. And then we have people from, I think, other places as well. We're going to break down everything we know that we're learning at Gateway. Gateway is a program where we have over 800 companies that we built relationships with these companies, and we're being the connector with ideas to companies that are looking for ideas, and we're hearing what they like and what they don't like, and we're finding out what really does work today because it has changed. And that's why you're here tonight. So you get the latest stuff. It's going to be current. And every week we're going to talk about everything we're learning and we're going to pass it on to you. That's our goal.
So we're going to call it a night. I'm going to turn off my camera and the sound, but I'm going to leave it open for about 4 or 5 minutes. If you guys want to type anything into the chat, any thank yous for the team. Dana, Chad, thank you so much. Stephen, thank you so much. And if anybody needs to reach out to us, you can email me personally at andrew@inventRight.com. But I'll leave the meeting open just for 4 or 5 minutes so you can type any thank yous you have into the chat. And I just want to remind everybody to take care and keep inventing.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Mark Portney, for sitting in. Always love having you.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Great.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Great seeing
everybody.
everyone.
See you guys. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Now.